Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy with Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Aaron.
And we are live on a Saturday, slightly afternoon, ready to do some podcasting. Find us everywhere you get podcasts. If you want to hop on the live show, get involved with the chat, see what everybody's up to, you can follow us on Crowdcast.io, put in TBGWT, or click the link in the show notes. This episode is all about the show notes because it's all about you. All the people that took the time to leave us feedback throughout the week so we could see what you thought about our stuff. That's what this episode is about. It's about the people that leave comments on our website, vote in our polls, leave voicemails and emails, and a bunch of other things. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair.
Excuse me.
Okay.
And the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. All right, let's get into it right away. Who gives a damn? Okay. I'm over here about the cough and stuff. I don't know what's going on.
About to take you out.
Let's get the people who gave us money some shout outs.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy who tips.
Oh, yes. New day, new pay. Let's talk about people that put some money on our books. Asia D, thank you so much for the recurring donation. Same with Chriselle. Don G is a brand new recurring donator. Don G, go to the new members class. Okay, welcome to the club. All right, they're going to induct you, walk you through there. Annie P, and hope you're okay. All right. David from Brooklyn, Tom W. Jr., Michael S., Julian N, thank you very much, Julian. Dana R, Noel W. We also got Bomani Jones. You guys may know from the right time with Bomani Jones. Laura E, Nicholas Z, Pete B, Alexis H, Johanna M, and Doug R round out everybody that put in for this week. That's your shout out. We appreciate y'all. Love when it gets funky. Of course, we also have a couple new 5-star reviews. You can leave these on Apple Podcasts. You don't have to have an iPhone. You don't have to have a tablet.
No more excuses,
iPad.
y'all.
You can go directly to their website now, search the Black Guy Tips, and boom, the stuff will come up, and we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
The first one is got new phone, new review. This is from Bokai R, who says, got a new iPhone. I had to break it in with a 5-star review. People should also check out older episodes to get hip to the Karen and Rod lore. Yes, check out the old episodes. I was just saying this on the Karen Hunter show yesterday. They brought up tantric yoni massages. And I brought up that we had an episode, I believe it was episode 1603, Chopping Chakras to Smithereens, where we talked about how the guy who used to be Barney is now was a sex therapist. I don't know if he's still a sex therapist.
He's right. They were writing reviews and everything.
Yeah, he had them ladies, going crazy.
they was like, look, I got a personal experience I like to share with the world.
Yeah, they appreciated that. So make sure you check that out. And then the next review was Keep Shining. This from 6 days ago by, it looks like THROOK, who says, Theta O, who says, I'm not AI, LOL, because she wrote 2 messages last week, and one was an email and one was a comment on the website, and I was like, what's going on? And they were both worded the same, and the wording was a little awkward to me.
Wanted to be sure you weren't trying to scam us.
Yeah, and I said, uh-oh, is this AI? They finally done figured out who we are? What's going on? But she said she's not AI,
okay,
which is exactly what AI would say.
You can't trick us just because you can check the box that says I am not AI.
Nice try, Theta.
We see what's happening. Can't trick us.
Right. Almost got me. Y'all almost got me.
We see 100000001. Binary code.
Let's see. We had 3 episodes this week. Oh, okay, cool. 2997. The best podcast in the world was our feedback episode. It has 12 comments. Let's see what's going on. Apia hops in. She says, oh, a cookout. Great. There might actually be spicy foods, and that's what I love. I do not really like typical white people food besides Italian. It often tastes so boring, while spicy food makes me feel alive, and I promise to do more than the least. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Set your goal for the least, and if you do more than the least, let everybody be surprised. Like, oh,
Yes.
Apia a real one. She did more than the least. But
We
the
know
way
to
to cook,
expect ice, plates, cups.
the way the cookout works, she's not talking about food. She's just talking about
Okay.
as an ally. I'm saying
Ah.
the way the cookout works, white people get invited for doing the least.
Yeah,
So
the least.
you can get in the door just like off of just some basic shit, like oh, she don't seem so racist, and then if you do beyond that, it's like, oh wow, what a surprise. So I would not promise to do more than the least. Let us just be amazed by it, and that way if something goes wrong and you do end up having to do the least, nobody can hold it against you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Don't nobody be mad.
she did say, she was just gonna do the least. Brooklyn Shoebase says, not someone thinking my thoughts are insightful. LOL, no pressure. I love Apia's comments. What feedback if Apia's not in the house? Apia put a heart emoji. Apia says, now this terrible experience really turned into a great one. Something I didn't expect at all. Like when I didn't get one job and I cried in my car, felt shitty, applied for another one 2 weeks later, and this one turned out to be much better and more fun. Like this, only with love, feeling accepted, and really finding out how great this community is. I was so sad last week because I noticed how much this show became a part of my life and how much I love it. No other show is so smart and funny at the same time and also empathic to people. It's the best podcast in the world, for real. Oh, thank you, Apia.
Thank you.
And that's really what I was in it for, honestly. I was waiting for that compliment to come back to us. So it all goes full cycle from a listener that didn't like your comment to you finally saying we're the best podcast in the world. Brooklyn Shoe Babe says, as your official public librarian in Brooklyn, I was so excited to hear listeners using Hype and Hoopla and Libby. My library system did allow folks to apply for e-library cards at the height of the pandemic, but required folks to replace them with traditional library cards once the e-cards expired, usually after 1 year. Having folks get traditional library cards increases foot traffic to the library and encourages them to borrow both paper and e-books because the library card allows you to do both. Number of library cards distributed, number of people who come into the library, and the number of materials checked does equal money for the library because you can't prove to the government how much the library is worth without these stats. 4 times a year, we have to keep track of all questions we answer for a week, and for the same reason. It's crazy. We know why libraries are important, but that's an abstract thing you can't touch. Sigh, vote blue, don't ban books.
Agreed. And it's not only with what you do, it's amazing how a lot of jobs, particularly if your job is like a computer job, particularly with like Microsoft Teams, and they have like all these programs that like track when you're online and all that stuff. Depending on what you do, everything isn't always be glued to my computer all of the time, but that's what they can track. So they make you do this abstract shit. They were like, well, how many emails do you send in a week? How many phone calls? And you be like, I don't really keep track of that shit because you're just normally just doing your job. But a lot of that is metrics to kind of figure out if the amount of people on their staff is worth it. How can they adjust the budget? If money need to be more money to be shifted to other departments and things like that. It's wild and crazy the way jobs are kind of structured to kind of get out of that interpersonal thing and be like, what are your stats and statistics only? And for some people, it causes them to adjust how they do their job sometimes, and the people interaction or the personal touch and shit goes down sometimes depending on the job. Because they be like, well, that's not counted. Nobody cares. Why am I investing my time to be the best in these interpersonal skills when y'all don't give a fuck about that? All y'all care about my Excel numbers.
Facts. Rona Raphael says, you just reminded me I gotta renew my library card. You're one of my superheroes. By the way, I did see you once at either the Central Library or Park Slope branch, but I was on Niger time to a meeting and forgot to find you afterwards. I blame folks who dislike middle names. I'll say hi next time. See, that's one of the problems with the middle name people. They start blaming shit on the middle names. And so if you think about it, the vast majority of people have middle names, which Rona Raphael at this point is like how white people say they the real victims with somebody without a middle name like me and Karen. Just point out the middle name supremacy and the middle name privilege that these people been existing with, it's not us shooting up presidents. So I don't understand why we keep catching strays. It's starting to feel like the Lady Duff protest too much, and like Ronan Raphael might be thinking about assassinating somebody or some shit with the way that he keep, every week trying to bring up having middle names. Like, good for you and everything that you got middle names, but maybe talk amongst your middle name brethren and sisterin about the crimes y'all do, because I don't. Last time I checked, two named serial killers is not filling up the coffers. Okay. Hustle No Flow says, on top of all the trash that you all mentioned about Charlamagne the God, 45 has chopped up a clip of him and Envy from the Breakfast Club about trans surgeries on inmates and added it to his ad that he's running seemingly every commercial break here in Georgia, here in North Carolina.
Yeah, in North Carolina too. It's on Amazon. It's on Hulu. It's like, fuck. Stop it.
Charlamagne, I think we covered it later in the week, but Charlamagne sent a cease and desist to Donald Trump. But that's my point, really, because Donald Trump, those ads are still on and he's still in them.
Yes, he is.
Because the cease and desist into the lawsuit, it's basically like, hey, take this out or I will sue you. And Donald Trump doesn't respect him, doesn't respect that, and will basically be like, well, then see you in court. It's 2 weeks out from the election. Fuck you gonna do? And that's the reason that you don't play in those streets. Don't be a useful idiot for people. We talk a lot on this show, but if someone took a clip from this show that sounded like it could be using a Donald Trump ad, you would truly know it was completely out of context.
Yes.
Like, you would know, because everyone knows what we stand for. This last few days, Charlamagne's been doing a lot of cleanup, doing interviews and going on people's shows and being essentially a Kamala advocate now, and stop criticizing her and trying to talk down on all the Democrats and shit. And the reason I think he's doing it is simply because of, at this point, he's associated with Trump in lockstep with these ads everywhere in America that people are going to the polls.
Yeah, and also he's getting introduced to a whole nother group of people who may not even know who he is. It's like, who the fuck is this dude? And then they finding out, about him, and all of a sudden it's like the spotlight became hotter, and it's like, are you willing to deal with this? Are you willing to stand behind what you've been saying? Like decisions have got to be made at some period of time. So decisions were made, and decisions were made for him to separate himself.
Yeah, there's definitely some people that would not have listened to him under any other circumstance that now that they've seen that clip is like, he's on our side. And to be honest, I would not put it past him being on their side, except this is so embarrassing, and everyone is so fed up with these type of ops from within the black diaspora and within the Democratic side of things. Everyone's so fucking mad and fed up. I could see him being like, well, this is too hot right now. I need to just get away from this as much as I can. And if she loses, I don't want to catch the hell that's going to be the 7 fires of hell that everyone who was detracting from the momentum is going to catch. So I think that's why he's cleaning up.
And also another point with him being with the Breakfast Club, just the whole unit being introduced to this new audience. They come over there, they find you, and then they kind of come into your culture. So it would not be surprising, particularly if online they're arguing and fussing with people and things like that. But them people like to
see.
Fuss
I don't
anyway.
think that part is happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, if there's a new audience, I think it's the people seeing those commercials. I don't think MAGA people are going to listen to the Breakfast Club.
Okay, I'm with you now.
I don't think that, and I don't think Charlamagne or DJ Envy would ever be on Twitter going back and forth with those MAGA people.
Not them, but the fan base.
Yeah, even the fan base.
Okay.
The fan base is an ignorant ass fan base for the most part, or they've accepted a lot of ignorance. I shouldn't say that fan base is ignorant. Many of them listen to our show too, but there's a level of like acceptance of that shit that goes on over there, because they say a lot of regressive type shit, and I'm not saying they need to be woke and blah, all that, but I am saying they play around and co-sign a lot of negativity, a lot of conservative ideology many times, and it's been a flash in the pan for ratings for them. We're like, oh, they go a little bit viral, everybody's like, oh, DJ Envy and Charlamagne sounded like Republicans one day, but they didn't want this, where the actual Republican presidential candidate is like, these guys agree with me.
Right.
So I think that's the difference. But I don't think the audience would ever support them, and I don't think they would ever enter their space. But they are now aware of them the same way they're aware of every black avatar that Trump throws up.
Yes.
Like, they don't go on to become fans of Le'Veon Bell. They're not fans of Antonio Brown. They're fans of the fact that they can be racist, and these black people will say, it's okay. It's not racist to me.
Right.
I agree with your racism. Hustle No Flow, thank you for writing in. He also says, I'm sorry, he's really a perpetual op because the commercials get much more visibility than the clips from his interviews with Harris. Yep. Ronan Raphael said, well, they were. I think now he may have alleviated that. Some of because he's really good at going viral. You cannot take that away from him. And I think the appearances he's done with Anderson Cooper and a couple other places, he's designed them so that they would go viral by being extremely like making sure that they had a conflict on air. And so I think maybe he's doing some damage control that is effective. And I've seen people that don't fuck with him who do understand what time it is, that we need everyone on board the ship,
right,
sharing his stuff and going, I hate to agree with Charlamagne. And I mean, that's really the point. Then that means it worked. Ronan Raphael says, shout out to Evie for recognizing a multi-universal brother. Love right back to you, my sister, as a multi-dimensional traveler. If you get 3 early tickets to my winter cruise in Germany, I'll allow 1 Arby's chef in a special section just for you.
Don't you agree to go on that trip?
We calling them chefs now? CCC, the brother Rod will not hook you up like this, but I will. You are right, Rod. If the GOP buys all my tickets apart from me sponsoring the next live show, y'all get the sequel to the Titanic and the ship will never be found. All the Blackout Tips family will be flown for free instead. I accept the terms of the truce.
I mean, Evie, we want to see you be around for a long time. I don't think you're going to make it if you go on that trip, so don't go.
EVE says, I don't have an update on that black MAGA guy who got his ass whooped at the rally, but there's a black gay Republican on TikTok who is 10 toes down for dump. He went for a Turning Point event, got accosted by 25 Nazis shouting racist homophobic slurs at him, and on the video you can see him trying to laugh it off and joke with them, but those white people weren't having it. So it went on. He went on CNN to cry about it, but that fool is still saying he's a dump supporter. Well, he's not a victim, okay? Just because he cried, went on CNN, was called racial slurs and homophobic slurs, he would never be a victim, so he has to support Trump. I bet the guy who got beat up probably hasn't changed his mind either, but the most telling part is not one Republican has come out to disavow this behavior because that's who they are. But hey, who said cooning was easy? Yeah, I was listening to Rain on Your Parade, JL Covan's podcast, and I think the latest episode, he had a theory about like the marginalized people that support Trump, like your black people, your black men, your Latino men, and stuff like that. You know, those people that we look over there and like, you're a chicken in a chicken coop and you're voting for the wolf to run the chicken coop. But he had a great theory on there about how they work backwards from I'm not a victim to a victim would be scared of Trump and wouldn't vote for him, but since I'm not a victim, I will vote for Trump because I'm not like the rest of y'all.
Right.
And I think that explains it as much as I'm able to grasp it. Miss Smart says, I think the E-Fam would come through and lift. Oh, I knew the E-Fam would come through and lift Appia. Of all the good things to comment about or all the scams Raphael writes about, and that caller felt the comments from a known fam who was the thing to focus on. Of all the schism from GTR, guess the race, Appia's comment was the tipping point. Now let me catch up on these shows before I get the We Live alert. Yeah, man, that's funny. People, it's been weeks now. People still writing in. That really set y'all off, man.
Yeah, because people slowly catching up.
Yeah, and it's very much a family environment for those. For this show, the feedback show, I think, is the most familial feeling show because you get to know some of the names and some of the people's like comments, and you look forward to Raphael trying to scam us. You look forward to
sell us crypto or some shit.
Yeah, you look forward to EVE bigging up Arby's and shit. Like it's just. And Appia's part of it, and so to have somebody come in, I mean, this is like I said, I was never really worried about the shit because I know how this goes. When people like somebody and someone takes a shot at them, even if they don't mean it to be the worst thing in the world, it's just people react, and it just is what it is. Erica says, shout out to Appia, meant to write in sooner. I didn't appreciate that voicemail. What's great about the Blackout Tips is the inclusivity. Gone somewhere with that hater bullshit. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, for us, it's been years. This is literally our 3,000th episode today.
For real, woohoo! Yeah, I'll be paying attention. Woohoo!
Yeah, this is episode 3000, and that's just the main feed. We got it. Like, if somebody is really being disrespectful, if somebody is trolling, we will handle it as we see fit. Like, we typically do not broker that type of disrespect with our show. So I mean, unless somebody is catching on some shit we don't understand, then we gonna call it out. Abia says, so cool that you also like Flight of the Conchords. I enjoy the songs endlessly. Some of the lyrics are burned into my head and I think about them randomly and laugh. Like, you're not in high finance considering secondhand underpants. Good point. Or he sells cheap thrills to pay expensive bills, but check your resume. You must have other skills like typing. Yep, I love Flight of Conchords. Think about them often. Let's see. We got comments on YouTube. Welcome to the cookout is a jam every time, says Jinx Fool. Just saying, 3161 says it was me that complained and I said the music interludes is good now. Okay, thank you. Now the problem is, just saying, I think that only is going to apply when me and Karen are by ourselves and I remember to hit that button. Any other time it seems like it's kind of fades in and out and it's weird, and I'm sorry because I'm not a robot, and the equipment and the site we use is kind of limited in what I can do with that. So unfortunately it won't always sound great, but I will try my best to remember to do that.
Yes.
JV City just leaves a heart emoji. So thank you for the comments, everybody. The poll on the episode was, do you still get it in? Yes, every once in a while, or not at all. 28% say yes, they still be getting it in. 31% get it in every once in a while, and 42% say not at all. They are not getting it in. So what does getting it in mean? I don't know.
Whatever you think it means.
Sometimes I don't have an idea for a poll, and I'm just like, that's what we got. Getting it in. That's what we gonna do today. All right, let's get to some music, and then we'll come right back. I think that's Jerry and Dean. I'm pretty sure that's DJ Jaffa. 2998 Page Steel was the episode. Ronan Raphael says, thank you for that anti-gov government point. Been getting away all this time. People killing me. I don't remember the point. Matt Nashville says, hey, Rod and Karen, as y'all talk about Trump and the grifters that roll in with him, there's also anti-government sycophants like my father, who see Trump as the perfect candidate. My dad is convinced that Trump is the one who will stop the evil government from taking all his money. Last time I checked, I'm not slated to inherit much. Well, that's why he's got to protect it. You know what I mean? There's not much left. Biden and the Democrats got it all.
So they can make sure you get nothing now.
I suspect most of the folks actually voting for Trump are like my father. I think it's probably what people want to believe. But he's not my father, Matt. And so I don't know. I cannot assume that of your dad. You know what I'm saying? I can't err on the side of, oh, well, this guy is thinking that because, you know, he's scared that the government's going to take his money. Because one, it's anti-factual, right? Like, Trump raised taxes on us, the middle class and below. Mm-hmm. So your father, if he's in the middle class or below, is actually paying higher taxes because of Trump's policies.
Yes. Which
I'm supposed to believe your father is either just ignorant to that or just doesn't believe that. But whenever it's time to pay taxes, the money is the money. And it went up under Trump. So, I don't have an emotional connection. This is what I was saying about what I realized about the Confederate soldiers and old white people, and how the young white people end up passing it down and carrying it on for generation after generation. There's nothing inside of me that has to respect anything your father's ever done for you. Mm-mm. But there is something inside of you that if he's been at least a decent or good parent, you intrinsically should and will respect things. Like, he's never fed me He's never looked out for me. He's never helped me go through school. He's never given me a talk. He's taught me no life lessons. So despite, like, I would have to take your word for what you say for your father. But actually, no, I don't have to take your word. I don't think I'm capable of taking your word that your father is just like, oh, it's just the government. I think if you went to therapy and you drill a few more layers down, there's something inside of that even the hatred of the evil government that will eventually come back to, like, the government, aka the people that free black people, or aka the people that their programs benefit black people. And my real anti-government stuff, the generational stuff that my dad told me and the dad before him told him, a lot of that stuff comes down to not agreeing with what the government saw as fair whenever it starts divvying out stuff. You know, that's what I think happens. I'm not saying not, and so let's say that's my guess, right? But let's go with your version. I think if your father is a genuine dyed in the wool, I just don't trust the government type, I think he still doesn't represent the vast majority of Trump voters.
No,
I think because of what Trump says out his own mouth,
what he represents,
I think the vast majority of Trump voters like the things he says. And it's not just the government. It's a lot about race. It's a lot about gender. It's a lot about sexuality. It's a lot about sexual orientation. It's a lot about hatred, bigotry. It's a lot about foreigners. I refuse, honestly, and will not accept the reasoning of, oh, these guys just, they don't like the government and they kind of get caught up. I don't think it's that. And, I obviously I understand why you might feel differently, but like I said, this motherfucker didn't raise me. So to me, I'm just like, you're in the way and I assume the worst of you. And especially at this juncture. You might could have made this argument in 2016. 2024, there's literally no room for this argument anymore. This is who he is. The worst things. He didn't do the things that he promised to do for all of us and stand up against the government and shit. He didn't do those things. He only took for himself, and he made things worse for the rest of us.
Yeah, and also for most people, we all heard the same message, but we all didn't come out with the same conclusions. And it's one of those things where I'm actually listening to what he says, and they are too. And I think that for most people, they understand what he says, and they want him to say it. But they, like in personal conversations with their family and friends and loved ones, aren't bold enough and aren't strong enough, or for a lot of them, Trump hasn't emboldened them enough to come out and to tell the truth. Some people have, but for most people, no. Most people will use every excuse in the book, except for the reality is they like his shit. They like what he's selling. They like it. They enjoy it. They love it. They might hold on to different strings of what he's saying, but all the strings lead to the same source, which is him. And so at the end of the day, you cannot not erase him from the source of the string that they're pulling on to trick themselves, or however they want to do to navigate it, to not justify them being a shitty ass person, because he's a shitty human being. And so if I really say what I think out loud, people are going to judge me and I'm going to be considered a shitty human being too. Yes. And that's the part nobody wants to accept. They want everything else, but they don't want the judgment. They don't want the condemnation. They don't want people saying this ain't right. Like, they don't want that part of it. They'll let Trump go out there and do that bullshit, but yet they will sit by and allow it to happen because they 100% agree with it. It's something in it that they like, love, and enjoy.
The thing for me is, what is a truth you want to admit to yourself? Because that's what I keep bumping into. And whiteness and the benefit of the doubt that we attribute to whiteness and white people in America has hindered this country every step of the way, because I would be considered the one who's out of pocket and biased if I just say, if you're supporting Trump, it's because you're either racist, you hate LGBTQ people, you hate foreigners, you hate women, you just want power, you're tired of looking around and seeing anyone get anything that isn't a white person, and you're angry about it, and you're blaming all that on the government and Democrats and all this shit. what is a lie? What is a truth you won't tell to yourself? Because you're lying. Like if you're lying to yourself, meaning, I just don't want I just don't want the government. That's the problem. Government needs to stay out of my business. You mean like saying you can't have an abortion? Or do you mean like telling you what books you can read? Or do you mean like interfering in an election? Well, tell me what you mean when you say you want smaller government, or you say you're anti-government and you don't want them in our business. What do you mean by that? Because what you're not going to say in any surveys, whenever they pick up like an undecided voter or a Trump voter, and they're just like, it's the poor white Americans who just have a lot of animosity, and it's the economic anxiety and shit like that. What the reason they ascribe those virtues to folks in ways they do to no one else is that they're not gonna say, I'm racist, I don't like trans people, I don't like LGBTQ people,
right,
I don't like foreigners, I don't like women, I don't like other religions, I just like white people, and I want to feel like a white person's in charge and making all the fucking decisions, and not a white person that thinks about other people, just one that thinks about themselves. It's a whole rant, but I'm gonna quickly wrap this up because I do want to move on. This is the last thing I'll say. I saw this ad, the ad that for Charlamagne in it, that keeps going. Kamala Harris said transgender inmates could get sex changes. Kamala Harris, she's for they, them. Trump is for you. And I said, you know what though? Trump's not for you. And so what a person that isn't as cynical as me thinks is, yeah, those people think Trump is for them. He's not for they, them, he's for you, the voter. That I don't think they think that. I don't think he needs to be for them. I think they just need him to be against them.
Yes.
That's what he sells. I'm against them. They know he's for himself. What they're saying is, anyone who's against them, I will excuse that he's for himself. Like, I don't care. It's not like he's clever. It's not like he hides his grifting. It's not like he hides his narcissism. It's not like he hides his hatred and bigotry towards other people. He doesn't hide any of it. But that's the point. They like that shit.
Right.
And so they know it is to their detriment. It's when people say stuff like white people vote against their own self-interest. I say, no, they don't. Only if you think they're not interested in bigotry. That's the only way that works, because many white people don't do that shit. Those are white people that aren't interested in you. Like, you're not selling me anything when you tell me like, oh yeah, I got a plan. The plan is to stop people from coming in the country. That's not my issue. So, we always talk about the 53% and the whatever percentage of, but there's a lot of white people who are like, no, because those things aren't their issues.
Right.
So it is their issue whenever they decide I'm voting for this thing. So that's what I'm saying. I won't allow your father or any white person or any person in general, not even white people, anyone who's supporting Trump in 2024, I'm not allowing them. It could just be this. It is the other shit that I just said. Lastly, don't worry. My wife and I already voted Dem all the way, despite Asheville being a tire disaster. Be well, love y'all. Yeah, I heard that they did get a lot of stuff up to the point where people can vote. And Trump's been touring that area and literally talking down on FEMA and the government and Biden and Kamala lying. And the saddest part to me, I listen to this podcast, Charlotte Talks, about local politics in our area. The saddest part to me, Republican politicians that got elected out there who are on the record saying, Kamala called us, Biden called us, FEMA's out here, we're working with people. This is the reason that we're able to get things back up and running. When Trump comes out to speak, they lie. They sit up there and say, I heard from Trump. I haven't heard anything from Kamala. The media will then question their office, and later, when there's not a press conference, they'll release a statement like, oh yeah, we did talk. Kamala called us and the Biden called us.
Of course they did.
That's why I said I can't allow excuses. I can't allow any reasons but the obvious to me. No one's getting the benefit of the doubt from me. And I'm, your father don't listen to this, but I'm sure if a man like that raised me, it would make me conflicted. I think that's a very human thing to have.
It's human nature. Yes.
He ain't raised me, so there's no sympathy, it's no reasoning, it's no excuses from me. Be well, love y'all. Also follow up, Appia, how did I beat you to this post? You okay? Appia reply, I have mixed feelings. I'm happy for you, but I wish I was faster. This week I told my Appia businesswoman it isn't easy. It was often coming home at 11 p.m. and driving somewhere else at 7 a.m. At least sleeping at home was possible. Yeah, it's Friday. I have mixed. Oh, that was, she just posted it twice. All right. Matt, thank you. Mature young lady says, very much looking forward to the end of this election. The disrespect towards VP Harris has been incredibly disheartening. It's especially upsetting when it comes from black men. I'm convinced anyone who votes against her is both sexist and racist. Same. And don't forget LGBTQ, anti them. And I too don't like daylight savings time. I hate waking up to darkness and it being dark earlier. Yeah, telling you, man. Give me that daylight savings time. I need to save some daylight. This shit crazy. That Glorilla album is fire. I listened to it 3 times back to back. I'm confused about how album stuff works. As Rod stated, what counts as an album and mixtape is confusing. They've been, especially since everything went to streaming. I used to know what counted as a mixtape because I went to the store and they wasn't for sale, and some nigga outside was like $5. I got that new DJ Clue, and I said that's a mixtape.
Right.
Then one day DJ Clue put out an album and I said, what the fuck?
Right, particularly with the Glorilla, because her last, that was the bomb, and I was like, that's not, but it was like her first album. I was like, bitch, what the other is album? I don't get it.
Yeah, what is everything then?
What
I listen
is
to
it?
that. I listen to that.
And it's Flames. What is it then?
They've been rolling these mixtapes out like actual albums, whatever this is. Glow did her thing. I actually think her album is better than Megan's, but I do enjoy both. Which one is a Megan's album? Like how many? I don't know how many she got, because I got a bunch of lists and a bunch of albums saved on my Spotify, but I don't know which one is an actual album to compare it to. The thing I do like about this Glow though is she's such a throwback to like the rappers of my time, which is so interesting to see about someone so young, and so with it for today's people and stuff, today's youth. But she's such a throwback. She got a fucking gospel song on there with Kirk Franklin. Nobody else is doing that, but that used to be like a rite of passage on all my hip hop back in the day. Everybody threw that one fucking church song on there,
and that shit is charting on the gospel side too.
Yeah, everybody used to do it. Nobody does it anymore. Maybe she gonna bring it back. I actually think her album better than Megan, but I do enjoy both. For those complaining about all the girl rappers talking about is their vagina, shout out to Glow for her song about domestic violence. Well, I think it's a domestic violence song. Put your hands on me and we'll be smoking on this next. I definitely I mean, it's cool hearing her rap about some shit and being like, don't let these niggas get you pregnant. Don't let them put their hands on you. Make them respect you. I know it seemed like a bare minimum type of thing, but I just love that she's so adamant about that. Now, she did later go on and post some pictures of her appearing to be pregnant. I don't know what that's about. I'm assuming it's some sort of stunt. I know a lot of these people, when they drop albums, do stunts like that. I know Lil Nas X did that. I don't know. Hope everything is okay. I hope she wasn't rapping like that and then really popped up pregnant, because then everybody's gonna be making it a thing. But whatever, as long as she happy, I'm happy. I'm here for everybody keeping their hands to themselves, she says. Him Deal says, damn, Rod, quit being a scary bitch and put your proton pack, garlic necklace, silver bullets, holy water, and now baby oil to fight these ghosts, vampire, werewolves, demons, and Diddy like everybody else. Bring your black ass on in the morning with the rest of us grown ass, but appropriately prepared adult peoples when the sun ain't shining. I'm sick of this. Daylight savings is for children and will remain much like the Atari 2600 for children. It's for children's, Rod. Do you hate the children's? Well. No, you hate the children. Because if I'm for daylight savings time and you say it's for children, then that means I'm for the children. You the one that hate the children's, Deal. You gotta follow your logic through to the end. So I'm sorry that I want the children not to have to go to school in the darkness.
I hated
with
that
all
shit
the little predators out there and all that shit. I'm sorry that I care more about children than you do. I guess you're a sick man. Also, speaking of reality TV, the dumps, reality trash. How am I supposed to know how the kids be dating and all about what's good banter if I don't keep up with Love Allen and Too Hot to Handle, huh? What about that, Rod? Why is this only the rest of me? Karen don't watch that shit either. And how am I to confirm what white people still love to be both naked and afraid while also starving they dumb and fun asses outside
naked and afraid
when they don't have to? Where am I going to go see the white people down bad, Rod? Reality TV, y'all the best. Thanks, him, Dill. I mean, you can watch that shit without me. I don't know why you would need me in it. I have not judged anyone for watching reality TV. I just don't do it.
Loves it.
I just don't do it. It's not for me. I actually say the reality TV that I watch, I think it's sports. I think sports is the biggest reality TV program in the world, and very little of it is about the actual games being played. We spend much more time talking about who don't like each other, who baby mama is this. I saw a shot last night where, like, I think Brandon Ingram hit a jumper to win the game over Anthony Simons, and I was like, don't they got the same baby mama? Like, that's what I be looking at during the games. That's what's interesting to me. So I'm not judging people. There's so much reality TV. It's too much to keep up with, and I'm good on the other shit. Rona Raphael says she does sound like a Paige wannabe. To be honest, Rod, I'm with you on this daylight thing. It's why I couldn't stay in the Scandinavian lands, except they quadrupled my acceptance fee. I never recovered from my 2012 visit to a small town in Finland. Sunshine almost all day except for like 2 hours between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. I couldn't sleep with my blinds open and flash my sexy body. Then locals were like, I should visit during the winter. It's the opposite, eternal darkness. I said, well, you shouldn't have told me that. So long, sayonara, my Vikings. I need my weather well behaved. You feel me? I do.
Need it balanced.
Tanya W42 says, I'm with you, Rod. I can't stand getting up out of bed when it's still dark out. I can deal with it being dark in the evening. It's supposed to be dark in the evening. That's all I'm saying. Like, people be trying, and I get it. I don't have seasonal depression, and I hope that this isn't triggering anybody's shit. That, like, it's mostly jokes. But for me, it's easier for me to rationalize, okay, it's 5, it's 6, the sun's going down. Okay. Like, it's not that I like it, but it's like, if I have to give up something, giving up, it's not sunny in the morning, or giving up sun in the morning or sun at night. I'd rather give it up at night than in the morning. I need that morning shit. I used to hate when I would be at work and the sun was up before and I was clocked in. It's like, what the fuck is today? That's not what the promise was. Also, a late comment on the Appia kerfuffle. I am Team Appia, and not only because I'm the other white lady that listens to Blackout Test. I was gonna say, you definitely not the only other one. It's a lot of them. That's my fault. You didn't say that. I'm the other white lady that listens to the Blackout Test. Appia has very thoughtful comments, and I enjoy them. Mm-hmm. I just appreciate that it wasn't a white lady mutiny. Like, wasn't a bunch of white ladies coming in to defend her, thinking that we were just gonna sit back. Like, I appreciate, because it could have got ugly. Like, it would have proven the point of, like, if all the 12 white women that listen was like, she is our Avatar and our Khaleesi, and you will not, our queen. You will not denigrate.
She's our queen,
right?
To be.
Classic R&B lover says, I prefer daylight savings time. I hate it being pitch black when I leave for work and pitch black when I leave from work. It makes driving dangerous, at least in my opinion. Also, the lack of exposure to the sun depletes your vitamin D levels, leaving you feeling drained in conditions that require you to be more alert than ever. EVE says, sometimes I almost feel sorry for people like Sage Steele, because they do all that cooning just to be disrespect to their face, and they have to keep smiling about it, but then they open their mouths and say something stupid. Fuck her and the rest of them tap dancing coons. Yeah, basically. I've been able to give up my empathy for coons so long. That might have been my first step to being able to be like, not for you. Like, I got empathy for a lot of people and a lot of shit, but not this cooning shit. That's on you. Comments on YouTube, got 6. Shelly, Seeking the Truth says, Shelly Winter has always been an idiot. He is a conservative Atlanta radio host who no one respects. Atlanta. Wow, that's crazy. He is trying to make a name for himself. CNN should be ashamed for putting him on. That's why the ratings are descending. Yep. Yeah. A lot of this stuff just lays at the feet of CNN and MSNBC and the people that put that programming together. They act like we're supposed to care about the truth and facts, but they editorially don't, because they allow liars on their airways with the same deference that they allow people that are studied and learned and factual.
Yeah, and it's also one of the things too, to where, and me and Roger just said this before, the people that are listening, you audited and edited your programming to run a lot of them away, and then the audience that you're trying to get, child, they go into something that's much more extreme than you. So guess who you satisfy? Nobody. So your ratings dip. So you lost those people. They're not coming back, and you're never going to get the people that's watching the Foxes and the OFANs, whatever the fuck that is. They're not coming. So then you just have lower numbers now.
Right. Let's see. The next comment is Jane, who says, Rod, love hearing your fitness progress. The rowing machine has become one of my favorites over time, but you are right. It is no joke. It's a great way to measure your progress on how much faster you get at the same distance over time. It's really cool hearing about your journey. Thanks for sharing. Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting, Jane, because I remember one time I was in there, actually the week I was doing the rowing machine, and just dying every time. There was a dude that, like, I was doing it 5-6 minutes or whatever to get to 800 meters, and I was like dead to the bed for a little bit after I would have to, like, you know, catch my breath. There was a guy in there that was rowing the almost entire time. Like, I was doing my first 3 or 4 sets, and every time I looked over there, his ass was still rowing. And I was like, God damn, boy, what are you training for? To fight Captain America?
Was it at so he was keeping the same steady pace?
Yeah, he was just in much better shape, and he was able to do it. I mean, it's like every machine. You know, you do it enough. I'm sure I'm not even close to what he was doing. He was just like the whole time he was getting it, no breaks. Let's see. Tabitha says a little bit of slavery will be fine with me, and they think they are going get reparations out of that man. Right. And I don't even see. That's another thing. So it ain't just the white people, like I was saying to Matt in Asheville, or I think he said Asheville. The black people that fuck with Trump, I think the same shit. Like no, there's the bigotry and all that shit is what you into, because there's no way you believe a word out of this man's mouth. And you know, you can say something to me like, oh, you know what, Biden and them ain't give us reparations, I'm gonna vote for Trump. For reparations? Because you think he gonna give you reparations? No, you're an op. The best thing I can say about you is you're an op. Actually, the best thing I can say about you is that you're dumb, but I don't think you're that dumb. I think you know that you ain't getting it, and you just want to justify with some bullshit.
Yes, sir.
You know, dumb is almost a compliment at that point, because I don't think you're stupid. I think you're complicit. They really think this whole time Democrats been lying on the Klan. They are the actual good ones, right? Alexandra Diary says, ever since the news channels became about profit over information, they all look like jokes. Lives are on the line. Yes. Jason J says, a small part of me feels bad for Paige Steele. Since we all know Trump is infallible, she's now gonna have to legally change her name, new driver's license, new credit cards, new voter ID. It's a whole lot of white man paperwork. Yeah, I mean, don't feel bad for her. She love white man paperwork. That's like her favorite thing to do. She's like, oh, the man, finally, I can get to go to the DMV. All right, let's go to the next and final episode of the week before we go to voicemails. 2999, Tyler Perry presents Marvel's Blade of Medea Blood Hunt Part 3. We had 9 comments. Let's see. Shoe Booty says, adding prayers down and get well never to my repertoire of disses. Avia says, my new one is, when I think something isn't my job, I don't want to take away your opportunity to self-improvement and personal development. I say it at work, but also to my kids, and they leave dirty socks on the floor. Yeah, I think, you know, prayers down. I love that. I love when people take the emoji for the prayer hands and then turn it to where it's, instead of up, they go down.
I didn't know that was an option.
No, you have to take a picture and rotate it. I've seen it a few times. I use it too. Get well never was off the top of the dome, but I'm sure I'm not the first to say that. And then my other one is out Shala. love a good outshallah instead of inshallah. That's a good death.
What that mean?
Well, so you know what inshallah means? Or no? Okay. So inshallah means if Allah wills, like God willing.
Okay.
And people often say that, like if someone passes or when you have hopes for something good happening in the future or something, you like if God wills, inshallah. Christian people say it too. But outshallah is like I hope something bad goes down.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Shoe Booty says, also in white people news, I'm the one in the neighborhood who got in trouble for feeding the deer. No one lets me be great. Defund the HOA. Yeah, okay, Shoe Booty. You keep doing that.
When you have 50 deer in your backyard, beating down your siding.
Yeah, this shit gonna look like that Mahershala Ali movie.
They gonna be jumping through your house.
Yeah, that shit's gonna look like that Mahershala Ali movie where that came on Netflix, where the fucking the deer was just standing around looking at their ass
and staring at them.
It was called Leave the World Behind. It was just like 70 deer looking, and they was like, maybe humans taste like trees. I don't know. Like, that's what's gonna happen to you. Not to mention things that eat deer are gonna start being at your house too. So
because the deer there,
keep fucking around.
The things that eat them show up too.
We gonna miss you. I can't wait to cover your story on White People News. Himdale says, I knew it. Rod has been nutritionally abusing Karen with his salacious meals, tantalizing treats, and confectionery delights for at least the last 2 years. And now we all know he's been dragging her into healthier living. And I, for one, am appalled. Karen blinked twice. Nah, stop chewing and drop your fork if you're in danger, girl. Real talk though, Rod, is the primary cook in my home, oftentimes not wanting to sacrifice taste for a healthier option. It truly is an exploration of new flavors and ingredients. So I just want to give you your flowers for holding your wife down and beating her, but only with love and healthy food options. All right, that got a little dicey, but yeah, I'll thank you.
I didn't know how that beat was gonna go.
And I like to try new stuff or like create meals that mimic the things that I like to eat. Before I started trying to like eat a little healthier, and most of the time, man, it goes just fine. Like most of the time, and every once in a while you make something and it just don't hit like how you wish it would have hit, and that's fine too. It's like my pizza tacos. They wasn't hitting the way I wanted them to hit. They was hitting enough, but I'll keep experimenting, or I'll just move on or whatever. It's fine. Michael says E. coli at McDonald's started spreading right after Trump goes behind the counter for 15 minutes. He said he always thought they were handling the food with their bare hands the whole time. Think about it. Love a good think about it. That's underrated. A good think about it.
Open your third eye. Open your third eye.
Think about it up there with like, wake up, sheeple. You don't find that suspicious, that kind of shit. Think about it. Okay, yes. Yeah. You didn't say nothing extra, but if I think about it, maybe I can make something up extra for you in my head.
Get serious.
Ronald Raphael says, I'm still holding hope for that Blade movie. Didn't it take 8 years for Ant-Man to happen and Twitter acted like the world ended after Marvel dropped the first director attached? That's true. Now about them coons. Upon further investigation, I believe that it was Donald Page and Whitlock, all being fed by the benevolent woman without sharing. But they hadn't been going to their annual convention all these years. They forgot after their host added some fermented nuts to their cuisine, and Marjorie saw them and said, hell nah, we eating where you're eating. And every coon marched along with the round 3. So that's how all the coons were brought to the yard. Now for $1K an hour, I can help that woman won't be a coon in sight after 1 week. Put me in touch with her. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what the hell I just read. I don't know.
You got confused too?
Okay.
I know talking about that woman with the coons in her backyard.
Right. Okay. So she must have fed Donald. Is it Donald Trump? Is that the Donald? Because is he counted as one of the coons? Page and Whitlock, I get that. They definitely 2 of the coons. So she rounded them up in her backyard, and he could help her get rid of their cooning. Okay.
A scam.
All right, I think I got it now, Ronnie Raphael. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed. I'm sorry I didn't get it in real time.
No problem. It's like the way you was reading that, I was like,
Yeah,
what's
he
happening?
was. Yeah, it was. I mean, I know he always writes clever, funny things, so I knew it was. I was missing, not him. I was just like, damn, that went over my head. That normally doesn't happen to me. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars. Appia says, I punish the Panthers by continuing to ignore all sporting events unless I'm actively participating, but I take them 10 times over your former president no matter how bad they are. Evie says, I was actually kind of sad to hear Harvey Weinstein was getting treatment for his cancer in prison. He doesn't deserve treatment. Hope it's painful because fuck him. This segment of White People News is chef's kiss because it was bad things happening to bad people. I also hope the Abercrombie and Fitch dude never has a restful sleep for the rest of his life. What a piece of shit. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Evie. I know you like enjoying bad things happening to bad people, and I do too.
Yes.
I actually saw an article the other day, and I'm sure we'll cover it in White People News, or maybe we won't. I don't know. But it was James Franco talking about how much, at least the quote that they had on Twitter about the article was how much he misses Seth Rogen.
Chad, Seth Rogen like, you ain't fucking killing my career. He was like, we had a nice run. I believe women.
I'm like, I stand a moral and savvy business financial king in Seth, because Seth was like, nah bro, that shit's on you, and I'm not fitting to be explaining my association with you for the rest of my life.
I agree. When this shit first happened, he was getting questioned about it. He was like, oh no, I got to end this fucking relationship.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that shit. So I don't know what y'all motherfuckers want from me as far as like explaining his behavior, and I don't want to be having to explain it the rest of my life.
All right.
All right, let's get to the comments on YouTube, which this one got 8 comments. Big Tone says Charlamagne talks way too much. His contrarian talking points is usually what gets him in trouble, but hey, that paycheck looks good, right? Yeah. Lynn Pittsburgh says Treebeard, like, my time has come. I don't know, Treebeard.
By something, something.
Treebeard feels like a Lord of the Rings character that
we was probably making jokes about.
I should
something.
know, and I don't know. I'm Googling to see who the fuck is Treebeard. Yep, it's a Lord of the Rings. I don't know Lord of the Rings good enough. Like, I be listening to J.L. Covan and them quote that shit on Rain on Your Parade, and I'll be like, who?
I just know Frodo.
I just be sounding like Karen. Who?
See,
I'm news.
See, I'm glad I'm not the older one out here.
JV City says Martha Stewart out here running amok. Glad she living in her truth, ain't she? Elise says at the 50-minute mark, they're probably terrified and need to show support publicly so that if their dad ever gets out, they won't be punished for not having done so. She's talking about Diddy's kids. I hear you. It could be that. It could be that simple. Like, it's easy for us who have never been around this motherfucker to be like, disown your father, but I don't know how he also controls and manipulates their lives in ways that we'll never see.
Agreed.
Rashad says the film Diddy. That's why I call Harvey Weinstein, and he put a bunch of laughing emojis. Flu Diddy says, didn't Jada Smith play Fish Maroney on Gotham? Fish and Cook must be related. That makes sense. Yeah, I do like cooking fish too. Mimi says, first time writing in, so excuse the length. I listened to this episode 3 times because Karen had me crying. Then I had to come watch it to see if it was funny on screen as I heard it. Karen's use of the word bitch or bitches had me literally laughing out loud at work when she said, you know what? The rule is pay bitches. I lost it. It was so unexpected and funny, not necessarily in context, but I immediately imagined that in other situations and on a t-shirt. She has really mastered the word and has really been in her bag this month. I know she says it frequently, but this episode was so great. Also, I love it when Rod reads a story. It comes across a job that you have considered and qualified yourself for. Like being Diddy's lawyer. I could do that. I'm sure of it too. Just good stuff all around. I appreciate you both and love the show. Look forward to the next episode, Misha. Thank you, Misha.
Thank you.
And lastly, Alexandria says, screaming at the pay bitches their money. Karen with the advice of the century. People being angry at Diddy's kids is weird to me because that's their father. We should give them the grace to work through their own relationship with him. I don't even know why people get so upset about it.
Either.
Here's the thing, and maybe this will help cooler heads prevail. But let's say you have a deep distaste for his kids supporting him, and I don't blame you if you do. Like that's totally rational. Can you kind of limit the anger by understanding they have zero shit to do with the case or the trial?
Right.
Meaning that statement will not convince a jury to look those over 100 people in the eyes and be like, yeah, no justice because his family supports him. Doesn't mean shit. It's just another manipulation that a lot of these abuser people do, is they keep people around them that they don't treat that way,
Right.
who wouldn't be able to just see a video and disassociate right away. You know, it's Matt from Asheville. Sorry, man, I don't mean to bang on you like this, but it's Matt being like, my dad just don't like the government. Like, sure, that you have to believe that. Cause who the fuck won't be like, my dad racist piece of shit, hate gay people, all this. No one won't believe that shit. Like, your mind does things to protect itself, and I've never been in that situation where someone so close to me did something so heinous and unforgivable that I couldn't look past it. And then people expected me to like say something to condemn them or to support them. I hope I'm never in that situation.
Agreed. And so that's why a lot of times in these situations, particularly if the family hasn't been charged or hasn't done anything, you know what I mean? Like, they are separate individuals. They have a right to forgive, not forgive. They have a right to speak, not to speak out. Like, they have all those rights and all those options just like you. But I think because of the internet, and it's a lot of I wish a motherfucker would type of people out there, then in reality, if this shit was to happen to you, the average person is not as big and bold as they claim to be online, and they would want empathy and compassion and understanding for whatever decision that they make. So I try my best to extend it to people that have nothing to do with the children are not on trial. The daddy is.
Right. All right. She goes on to say, like you said, could people flip the switch when it comes to the person they love so quickly? We don't know what is happening behind closed doors. Yeah, like I said, I mostly just think about how it's inconsequential. I'm sure it's another thing that hurts the victims, but everything would hurt as a victim, any defense that he's gonna muster. And I'm prone to just look at the kids as victims of this person as well.
Agreed.
Like, maybe they weren't sexually assaulted, but they were very much manipulated the whole time. All right, let's get into the voicemails. Play another beat just in case we decide to insert a commercial here. Oh, well, okay, cool. All right, the beat came up. There we go. All right, voicemail times. I believe 4 people called. Allegra called twice.
Hi, to it's Allegra. I'm just listening to the feedback episode 2997, and it's the Appia appreciation part 2. Yeah, that caller was coming off the rope, and I just wanted to quickly point out, which you will probably point out since I'm just starting to listen to your feedback, but what I want to point out is the same thing that other the person who wrote in asking about the sound quality, or rather criticizing the sound quality. It's interesting when people have these don't take a breath. I'm sure I called and mentioned that earlier before, but people don't take a breath. They just hear a word or a phrase and don't listen to the full thing or see the big picture and just freak out. And then you guys respond, and everybody lovingly responded. I too love hearing Appia's take for a lot of the same reasons that everybody else mentioned. But that person didn't call back and say, you know what, I'm sorry, or I was wrong, or, you know, fuck y'all, whatever, you know. And it's interesting to me when people do these things, they don't ever want to come back and, you know, follow up. They just want to drop this bomb and keep it moving, and everybody's just supposed to, like, what, agree? I don't know. It's interesting. People are weird. But I love you guys.
She did call back
Hi, Ron and Karen. It's Alegra again. I had to call back when Althea was asking about Flight of the Conchords. You know what, Althea? On that, you are now kicked out of the club. Just kidding. I had to chime in with making love for 3 minutes.
Yes.
Yes, Flight of the Conchords did a jam.
Yeah.
So the thing I would say is, the person didn't call back, but it's fine, because look, they might disagree. They might really be like, man, fuck that, I said what I said and I don't feel away, and I want her to stop commenting. What they're allowed to feel how they feel. The other thing is, they could feel a little embarrassed because some people came back kind of strong with the like, I'm gonna match your energy and say your voicemail was out of pocket and you were out of pocket. It's not something we really can control one way or the other, how people feel. And some people only just tap in every once in a while. They don't really be like every week, like holler at the show type of person. They could have just wanted to say something to the feedback show. They could skip the feedback show. They could get behind by months. You never know. So I don't try not to get too hung up on it. I personally am the kind of person that would have a follow-up, because that's just the kind of person I am. So if it was a misunderstanding, or I felt I was being taken out of context, or even if I just felt bad and wanted to be like, damn, I was tripping, y'all, I'm the kind of person that typically does the like, I was tripping, I feel bad about that, and I'm sorry to Appy or whatever. But that's if I feel that way, and that's just me. Everybody don't roll that way. Iman.
Hey Ron, hey Ken, this is Iman. Just the quickest voicemail, but when you said hands down, oh no, oh. Oh, I still listen to the episode. I gotta go back. Oh, it's so funny. I'm gonna be thinking about that all day. Just press down. Anybody I don't like, press down. Put your heads down. No. Oh,
man, I love mine. I'm glad that tickled her. The next one is from our dear friend.
Hey, my babies.
Hey,
this is Nick Jew, Nicole from the Bay, living out in Poughkeepsie. I just saw that your last show was Sue 999, so I'm calling to preemptively congratulate you on show 3,000. 3,000. And plus, those of us who know, we know y'all done about 50, 11 more shows than 3,000. But I haven't called in for a while. I just want to say hello. I'm out here. I'm outside. Y'all are killing it. Great commentary as always. Love to see the love from the wonderful community of the Black Guys Who Tips Nation. And just here's to 3,000 more. Love y'all.
Love you too, Nick Jew.
Oh.
I think of Nick Jew all the time. I, text her and stuff. We talk, just one of the good people on the earth. And one of the realest. So don't forget to check out her podcast that she does every other month with Reggie. That's an inside joke, guys. An inside joke. It's not an insult. But I actually have that shirt. Sometimes I go walking in the these are your announcement shirts from What's the T. TEA. So yeah, man, love Nick Jew, and I see you outside, girl. You out here doing your thing. I love to see it. We be on the gram stalking. Okay, I be trying to retweet and pass on the thirst traps to everybody so they know what's up. Forever a fan. The last one is from Blue Wave Rider.
Karen and Rod, you know who this is. I just wanted to share some random thoughts with you. Why don't you have a corporate sponsor? Why do you let Karen talk so much? Why isn't your podcast on Sirius XM? Why are you not like Joe Rogan? Stop leaning into your blackness and get some of that sellout money. Happy 3,000 episodes from your boy, the Blue Wave Rider. Out.
That's
hilarious.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And it's we need all the help we can get. So just keep writing in with y'all list of suggestions and complaints, and maybe one day we'll listen, and
maybe one
we'll
day
finally make
we'll
it.
pay attention.
We'll know we finally blew up. All right, the last thing we have to do is the emails. So I'm gonna play another beat, and then we'll come right back. I'm gonna go back and play some psycho music. Good Life.
Psycho
music.
Let that one rock a little longer. Dave writes in, David from the Ville. He says, Dear Rod and Karen, I really enjoyed the episodes that y'all have put out the last few months. Hope you both are comfortable knowing that you are going down in podcast history. I absolutely love the show. I love the Dorothea delegation.
Come on, Dorothea delegation.
The Southern charm, comedy, and wit. I was unable to make it to the last live show because Uncle Sam had me on a 24-hour shift. Ooh, not 24. I look forward to the one happening next year. Yeah, set your calendars. We'll let you know when everything goes on sale. Should be soon. But February 28th, I believe, is the date. Let me just double check because I know it's on a Friday. And if I just told y'all the wrong day, I'm going to feel bad. Yeah, February 28th. It's on a Friday in Charlotte. And when the tickets go up, we'll start promoting the link and everything, and we love to see all y'all there. We're bringing back the VIP meet and greet thing that we had got rid of during the pandemic.
Yeah, we had a great time doing that.
We vaxxed up. Hopefully y'all vaxxed up. If you want to wear a mask, be masked up. You know we ain't the type to make no problems. Anybody fuck with you, we got your back. But yeah, we come through. We would love to see all y'all there. It's gonna be a good time. And we're gonna have JL Covan there, and he's gonna be opening for us. So you get to see JL Covan do stand up, the tallest man in comedy.
Please, y'all come see and support JL.
Yeah,
y'all know. Chad, we can't have him on his show talking about I went all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina, and 3 whole people came up and 2 people seen me online. We can't be having that.
First of all, in addition to knowing that wouldn't happen, but the other thing is, if it does happen, that's just content. So even if something bad does happen, don't feel bad. He needs that fuel to create more comedy. So, you know, maybe give him a backhanded compliment if you see him, like once he's off stage. You know, maybe say something. Try to punch up his jokes. If you see,
try to punch up his jokes.
If you see him after he gets off stage, and you think of something that you thought was funnier, a tag maybe, hit him with that tag. You know, like
let him know you care.
Did you ever think about doing? What if Trump said this? You know, with cheese, you know, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, go Woodpeckers as always. Thank you, David from the Ville. Thank you. Our girl Marissa writes in. What's going on, Marissa?
Hey, baby.
Justice for Rod. This feedback is actually about the Nerd Off, but related to the regular show.
Okay.
So we did the Nerd Off. It's our premium behind the paywall nerd show. We talk about video games, anime, nerd TV, movies, comic books. We talk about a bunch of nerdy shit, and it's really fun. Karen went on a journey all the way from, you know, in the beginning not even wanting to be on the show because she thought she wasn't really a nerd, to now sometimes on that show when we do the what are we being entertained by segment, Karen can be talking for extremely long periods of time just about many anime, many video games and all that stuff because she's extremely nerdy, you know.
Yes, I am. I really have came a long way.
So Marissa says, on this week's show, Karen dominated the show and repeatedly had more to say than Rod. Spoke over him, and if you didn't know any better, you'd think he wasn't even there.
I did boot him out the way, didn't I?
Not only is this clearly a sign of a marriage on the rocks, but it's unfair to Rod, who deserves to be heard. Representation of men in nerddom is so important. Oh, gosh, she's going extra with it. And I wish Karen would be more mindful of this when she ... Woo, okay. I made it as far as I could, but I loved Karen's shit. Yeah, I was going to say, this ain't Marissa at all.
No, it's not.
Just be like, girl, you been hacked.
Who took over your account?
They done got in your Gmail, girl. Woo, okay, I made as far as I could, but loved Karen sharing so much cool stuff on the Nerd Off this week. I tried to stick up for you, Rod, but the Agatha within won out. I don't blame you. We ain't got enough defense. You know, it's like people with middle names. Haven't we done enough? I think the feedback for folks who feel like they don't get enough Karen on the regular show is, get behind the paywall, you broke bitches. She said it, not me. Love y'all, love the show, and Karen, especially love your book recommendations.
Thank you, baby. Thank you very, very much. I have a ball doing the premium shows. We do like the movie reviews and all that stuff, and particularly with like the Nerd Off, because like I said, we do them like every 3 weeks, and I do a lot of shit. Particularly, been on my isekai phase, and I have really been having a ball. I don't know why. I just fell in love with them, and I was like, well, fuck it, I like them until I feel like going to another genre. This is where I am, and shit, it's hundreds to choose from. Crunchyroll be like another suggestion, and on top of that, I'm gonna branch out to Netflix and Hulu too, cause look like they ain't fucking around either. I see if Amazon got some shit, so I've been branching around, and I've been having a ball.
Next one, Celeste says, hi Rod and Karen, I'm not going to be long. Just wanted to say to you both, thank you for the community you built with your platform. While I'm not able to join the chat as often as I like, it is a great experience when I do. Thank you for covering all types of stories with solid information and humor. I love also when you both start throwing out those puns. It really cracks me up. A quick thing about where we collectively find ourselves this presidential election season is truly a first-hand look at so many aspects of the personalities and character of those who live here. Maturity versus immaturity, collective versus individual, backward-looking versus forward-looking, racist, sexist, homophobic versus belief in humanity of all, engaged versus apathetic, and frankly smart versus stupid. I'm doing my part, going out to canvas again in battleground states, which was largely positive last time. I've donated, shared accurate information to those who will listen, and I have my plan to vote. What is so interesting, if it wasn't so infuriating and scary, is that if you look at some of the nonsense happening now, if 45 was truly having this in the bag, then why would the capitalist Avengers, Bezos, the LA Times guy, Apartheid Clyde, and all of the mainstream media and foreign adversaries, Putin, etc., be throwing everything at the wall to try to derail VP Harris?
Yes!
They're so scared of her, by the way. They're so scared of her. Like, I was on the Karen Hunter show, she brought this up yesterday about, you know, Jeff Bezos stifling, and we'll talk about this throughout the week, I'm sure, but stifling the newspaper he owns, I think the Washington Post, stifling them from doing their annual, well, you know, their every presidential election, they endorse a candidate. Well, they aren't endorsing anybody this year. LA Times, they aren't endorsing anybody.
And people are mad.
And it's because the owners, the billionaire owners, Jeff Bezos, I forget the other guy, they made the editorial workers, the people that work at the paper, say you will not be putting out a recommendation. And some of them have resigned because it's the antithesis of what the press is supposed to do.
Right.
It's literally stifling the press. It's not freedom of press. And
right.
You're not even Trump. So you're not doing this from a government situation. Billionaires are telling you what their weak spots are. They're telling you what the weak spots are. This is like when you're playing a video game and you're like, how do I beat this boss? And the video game has to do like a blinking glowing spot in the dragon's chest, and you're like, I think I'm supposed to shoot that.
Yes,
that's what they did with this. All their flame and fury mean nothing, because the one thing they told you is, we don't want our newspaper of record telling you vote for Kamala Harris, because I, as a billionaire asshole, because I don't think all the obviously this isn't true of all billionaires, because Tyler Perry and Beyonce are speaking at, you know, they're endorsing Kamala Harris. They're speaking at a rally. So obviously I'm not trying to cast the wide net of like, all these motherfuckers the same. I think people say that, and I don't really agree with it, because I'm a smart person that doesn't like broad sweeping statements that aren't either funny or true. And I think the all billionaires are bad people thing is a simplistic version of, it's truthy. It sounds true, but if you start going individually and being like, first of all billionaires are people. All people are fucked up. So you're going to find something fucked up with every single person, including you and your broke ass. I know fucked up broke people too.
Ain't that the truth?
But the bigger point is, because I'm not saying this to defend billionaires, I'm saying they let you know when they fucked up. Elon Musk has no problem letting you know I'm a fucked up person. Like Mark Cuban goes out of his way to be on the right side of a lot of shit. I'm not gonna just lump him in there like it's just a function of having money. It's not just a function of having money. Now you can make an argument about generational money though that I'm willing to listen to, because a lot of motherfuckers that I think seem to be doing it right are people that made their money in their lifetime and somehow either lucked up or things fell right, or they're just so talented that they made $1 billion first generation not on their own completely, but you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't
first
they
generation.
weren't given $100 million and then turned into $1 billion.
Right.
Beyonce wasn't like, oh, I inherited 500,000 and made $1 billion. Like, so like I think there's something about that work ethic, connection to working people, connection to the culture, and also how much those people end up giving back and lifting up people from within their communities and stuff. That's a different conversation for a different day, and I'm sorry I got in that tangent, but I just needed to mention it. Anyway, my point being, when Jeff Bezos is telling you I'm afraid of Kamala Harris, you know what it makes me do? It makes me want to go vote for Kamala Harris twice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Thank you for letting me know this is the weak spot. They ain't saying that about Trump. They're not scared of Trump.
No, they're
and
not.
what we know is that they shot down the editorial board's endorsement of Kamala Harris. They didn't shoot down a endorsement of Trump. They didn't shoot down a neutral, like, hey, we're not gonna hop in. They shot down a clear, concise endorsement. And it would make sense that people that work in that field would be pro Kamala, because whether they may feel that as president or as a candidate, she's lacking in some area, or she's not answering every question I want answered, or she ain't doing every interview I want done. You know what she isn't doing though? She's not stifling their freedom.
Yeah, she gonna let the press.
She's not
be the
stopping
press.
them from criticizing her. She's not
Right.
turning people against them. She's not doing the things that Trump is doing. She's not threatening to lock anyone up because of something they said in the press. She takes the slings and arrows, be they fair or not fair, be they outrageous or not. She takes them. When someone has a critique that doesn't even make sense to me, she doesn't try to stop it. She doesn't send everybody to go get them. One motherfucker does do that. So who did you think the people that work for you in the press that have committed their entire life to journalism, who did you think they were going to side with? Whose side did you think they were going to ultimately fall on? The side that's going to give them the freedom to express some shit, or the fascists?
Right. They was like, motherfucker, I don't want to get locked up for doing my goddamn job.
So in the one hand, they've told you what they're most afraid of. Because I saw people pitching it this way, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think if they took a lie detector test, I think I'm right. People were saying, oh no, they're afraid of Trump. And they don't want to say something now that if he does become president, he will want to retaliate against them. No, I disagree.
Right.
I don't think they're afraid of Trump. Especially these motherfuckers that are that rich. They definitely ain't afraid of his ass.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos is not afraid of Trump.
No,
Jeff Bezos basically runs America.
He gonna pass shit that's beneficial to them. Why the fuck are they afraid
They're
of
not
him?
afraid of him. They're rooting for him.
Yes, they are.
They're afraid of Kamala Harris. They're not capitulating to fascism in advance. I know that's a take. Nicole Hannah-Jones had that take. She's a very smart person. I would not denigrate any of her great work, but I am more cynical. This is what I say when I be like, sometimes I think people hear where I fall on issues and they think I'm more hopeful. I'm more cynical, meaning I don't think they're afraid and capitulated and going, if we just cooperate with the fascism, it won't be so bad. No. They want it. They want it too.
Because they're going to benefit from it.
But look at how they make their money. If they didn't have to pay nobody, they would.
Right.
So like these specific people I'm talking about. So that's why I don't even look at it as anything other than them letting us know how to hurt them. Also, while I was canvassing even some independents or just lean Dems, they didn't have me out talking to Republicans, thank God, because I don't have the bail money. People are tired of 45, and that is important. Anyway, saw your picture of you and Karen early voting. Shout out to y'all. We have it here, but it's basically doing your absentee ballot at a designated location, which for me and my family, not what I wanted to do. I wish we had actual early vote stations like in other states, which I would absolutely do. The other interesting thing I learned canvassing, and we'll see if it's the same today, most people are voting in person, so this will look different in 2020. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff And also, like, it's so funny. Republicans are so late, but they're trying to shut down mail-in voting and be like, if it's not at the post office, if it's not counted by the voting office before the election day, we will not count it. So basically, if they have not received the mail, they not count it. It used to be if it was, as long as it was stamped,
yes,
and postage was confirmed that it was before the election, they would count it even if it arrived up to 3-4 days after the election.
Right, because
States
a lot of them was still counting them.
States are getting rid of that because that typically benefits Democrats. But I mean, people ain't dumb. They just gonna go vote in person.
Yes, they are. They just gonna vote in person.
Then I won't take a chance. Like, this is not, it's voter suppression, but this is not the Jim Crow South, how many jelly beans in a jar ass shit. This ain't white men sitting around with rifles before the, and then being like, read these words, boy. This ain't that. Okay, then I'll just go in person then. We just have to want it more than them. That's all this is going to come down to. And if Kamala Harris doesn't win, we failed. The American public,
yes, we did.
The voters failed the country.
Yes, we did.
I'm not even saying failed her. Failed ourselves.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll stand in line. Y'all shall see, but I'm optimistic. I think she is a fabulous candidate, and we shall see. Yeah, and has run a great campaign. If Americans don't do the right thing, it's not on her or the Dems or any of the nonsense reason. Yeah, and I don't want to hear it. Y'all gonna be y'all people gonna be complaining. I ain't gonna hear it. I don't want to hear it. Oh, she would have just did. No, nigga, you knew.
Yeah,
the same way you knew when Hillary told you.
I really do. I'm very optimistic. I want her to win. I have a great feeling that she is going to win. My thing is that I want it to be so overwhelming that we don't have to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah, y'all knew the same way that Hillary was running and we knew a Supreme Court justice seat was open. And motherfuckers talking about some, what about RBG? What about her? You knew a fucking seat was open when she would, the same shit we all had the same information. I knew what to do. I didn't have a problem. I'm not on the podcast spreading misinformation and telling people not to vote. Some motherfuckers just failed. You failed to pass a failed test, and we not listening to you no more.
And you're gonna have to hold that F and take the consequences, the repercussions of the F that you received.
It's white people snorting that pure white supremacy drug, and others, as Rep. Clyburn said the other day, wanting favor rather than freedom. Well, with that, take care. Thanks, Celeste.
Come on, favor rather than freedom.
I appreciate you out there doing that, groundwork. The last one's from Raquel, who says, I hope this makes the feedback show. You made it before your 3,000th episode. I started listening after your first time on Karen Hunter, and ever since I binge your pod every weekend. I love your show, and I plan to become a premium member as soon as I get my money right.
Hey.
Keep up the great work. You are the blueprint. Thank you. P.S. I live in ATL now, but hell, Columbia, South Carolina. So good to know good things are coming out of the Carolinas. Well, thank you, Raquel. Appreciate you. This has been episode 3,000. Who would have thought we would be making 3,000 of these when we first got together, and took us three tries to make number one.
Recording at midnight because everything went wrong. New computer 2 or 3 times, child. I looked at Roger like, you can replace me at any time. Like, I ain't got to be here.
Yeah, but I'm very proud of what we've built and proud of what we're doing. We don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And we love that y'all love us, and we love that this community we built, especially in the feedback show. Like, these are the real fans that chime in and put in on things and want to be heard and care about our opinions. And we have like a rapport with y'all every week, and I appreciate y'all.
Yes, and the feedback show has came a long way, particularly for the people that are kind of newer. When we first started, we used to go online like Facebook and Twitter and stuff and post them and read it during the show. It wasn't always a separate show. But as more people began to write in, it began to be its own separate thing. We was like, hey, we're talking we had an extra hour just with the feedback. And so that's when we decided to kind of branch it off and have its own dedicated show. And we've been going long and strong. We've been doing it forever now. And I really do appreciate that. I am very grateful, and I'm very thankful for the people that that do leave the comments on the feedback show, because there are a lot of people that do podcasts. They're talking in the void and nobody leaves them anything, but y'all come through. Shout out to y'all and thank you very much. It matters.
All right, y'all. We'll talk to you later. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good